Good afternoon, students. I am Munshi Rushidul Islam, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, JIS College of Engineering. Now, today is the second class of the fracture mechanics subject and the lecture number uh, 20 of this second class of fatigue, failure, and stress concentration, north sensitivity, and also the cumulative fatigue. These four are the important points that can discuss in the today's class. So first of all, we have to concentrate on the microstructural aspect of the fatigue level, then how the fatigue failure can depend on the microstructural aspect, and then discuss about the remaining point or remaining part. So now the microstructural aspect of fatigue failure, that means one of the important mysteries related to the fatigue, that means how does fatigue failure occur if the stress level used is below the yield stress. Now let us see the fatigue failure occurs because the microscopic plasticity which can occur below the yield stress and the damage accumulation with time. That time means the number of cycle of loading. Now the four important stages of fatigue can be identified. First one is crack initiation, second one is stage 1 crack growth, third one stage 2 crack growth, and fourth one is ductile failure. So first the crack can be initiated, and which is actually take place within about the 10% of the total life of the component. Number 2, stage 1 crack growth, that means the growth of crack along the planes is high shear stress, and this can be viewed in the slip process, which can be lead to crack formation. Stage 2 growth means in this stage the crack grows along the direction of maximum tensile stress, hence the crack propagation is transgranular. And fourth one is ductile failure and reduction in load bearing area that leads to the ultimate failure. Now if you see the flow diagram, first the crack initiation is the first stage, second stage crack propagation or crack deeping, and third one is next is crack growth, and last one and last process is the failure. Slip and crack initiation. When a specimen, that means the specimen means the figure number 1, specimen that is subjected to uniform loading and dislocation of moving on parallel slip plane leaves the free surface of crystal per grain, that giving the rise to slip lines, that means typically 100 to 100 nanomicron high, and the slip is prevalent in all grains of the specimen uniformly. Now there are 4 figures are there. First one is the specimen which is uniform loading. Second one, and that is actually the static loading case, where the uniform shear stress can be formed. Third one is dynamic or fatigue loading, and fourth one is formation of instruction, that means the fine scale compared to the static loading can be obtained during this process. Fatigue crack propagation. Once a crack can form, its growth can be understood in 2 stages. Stage 1, that means the growth along slip bonds due to slip shear stress, and which leads to the formation of instrument or instrumentation, and which can be thought at a crack deepening. The extension of the crack is only a few grain diameter during the stage of the rate of few nanomicron per cycle. And in stage 2 means mark faster crack growth of micron per cycle is dictated by the maximum normal stress present and the situation of the crack deformation, which is actually produced by one of the stress cycle, and sometimes this strain is difficult to detect and hence strain are not found in such cases. So suppose the important portion of the fatigue failure is the stage 2 crack growth, and hence the understanding the same help of one predict the failure cycle per time and hence the plan for fail safe design. So now follow the flow chart. That means formation of double notch concentration slip at 45 degree due to tensile loading. Next, tensile part of the cycle, that means crack widening, and next is crack tip extension and blunting. Next point is stress concentration. It is almost the inane component and machine have to incorporate it in design failure, which is introduce change in the cross section. That means changes in cross section causes the localized stress concentration, and severity depends on the geometry of the discontinuity and the nature of the material. Stress concentration factor Kt is actually denoted by the stress concentration factor. So Kt is equal to S max by S AV. That means S max is actually the maximum stress at discontinuity, and SAV means the nominal stress, and Kt is actually the value depends only the geometry of the part. Applies to brittle and notch sensitivity materials. Should consider when using high strength, low ductility, case hardened and heavily cold work material. Now the stress concentration in fatigue, that means it is denoted by Kf, and the stress concentration factor Kf is equal to, in fatigue cases, Kf is equal to endurance limit in notch free whole by the endurance limit of notch part. So notch sensitivity factor Q is equal to Kf minus 1 by Kt minus 1. Here Kt is equal to stress concentration factor and Kf is equal to fatigue stress concentration factor. So generally Q is equal to 1 as material strength increase and sensitive to notches. As material strength increase and sensitive to notches. So Kf is equal to Kt. That means Q also depends on component size. So stress rise are dangerous in larger masses. Stress concentration, whether a machine component changes in the shape of its cross section, the simple stress distribution no longer holds good. These irregularities in the stress distribution caused by the abrupt changes in form, that is called the stress concentration. And the stress concentration is a location, is the object where stress is concentrated. An object is strongest when force is eventually distributed over its area. So a reduction in area, that means caused by a crack, results in a localized area increase in stress. So for suppose one cases a material can fail like a propagating crack when a concentrated stress of a material is always lower than that of the theoretical value, because most material contain small crack or contaminants that concentrate stress. It occurs all kinds of stresses in a presence of fillet, notches, holes, keyways, splines, surface roughness or scratches. Theoretical or form stress concentration factor. So theoretical or form stress concentration factor is defined as the ratio of maximum stress in a member, that means at a notch or fillet, to the nominal stress at the same section based upon net area. Mathematically or theoretically, form stress concentration factor, that is equal to Kt. Kt is equal to maximum stress by minimum stress, nominal stress, and the value of Kt depends upon the material and geometry of the part. Fatigue stress concentration factor. Fatigue stress concentration factor, when a machine member is subjected to a cyclic or fatigue loading, the value of fatigue stress concentration factor shall be applied instead of theoretical stress concentration factor. So mathematically, fatigue stress concentration factor Kf is equal to endurance limit without stress concentration whole by endurance limit with stress concentration. This ratio is called as fatigue stress concentration factor. Now fatigue crack propagation. So this is actually the equation with fatigue crack propagation, and it is experimentally, it is a empirical formula, that means dA by dN is called A sigma A to the power m into A to the power n, where sigma is equal to the alternating stresses, A is equal to pack length, capital AB is constant, m mass ranges from 2 to 4, and n is the ranges from 1 to 2. So another equation is there, that is the del K, that means range of stress intensity factor. Del K is equal to K max minus K min, that means sigma max root of sigma pi A minus sigma n, that means sigma r into pi root of pi A. So ranges of K has to be considered as we are in the fatigue loading mode. The use of del K further gives a crucial link when the fatigue and fracture mechanics can be considered. Now effect of metallurgical variables. The fatigue related properties are sensitive to number one, the specimen geometry, which is actually special reference to the stress riser. Number 2, microstructure, including the residual stress and microstructural stress riser. And number 3 is surface finish. Now more smooth surface finish and compressive residual stress improve fatigue properties, that means increase fatigue life. In some cases, correlation is found between the properties of determined from the static tensile stress, like UTS, universal testing system, and with the determined from the fatigue testing, that means fatigue limit. However, there is no universal universality to the behavior. As we have observed that most of the localized sleep is a key of the fatigue stress nucleation. This implies that if sleep can be spread out more uniformly, that means homogeneity of sleep, then fatigue life will improve. In low staking fault energy material like AG, cross sleep is more difficult and hence the obstacle cannot be overcome easily by cross sleep. So the opposite is true for high SFE material like aluminium, and the cross sleep can be laid as a parallel plane operating to the excessive manner. Now further is low SFE material, the grain size plays in an important role regarding the fatigue life, and the role is important only under conditions of low stress. That means the number of cycle to fatigue is high and cracks stage 1 cracking is predominant. Under such circumstances, the following relation is to be obtained. That means fatigue life is directly proportional to the grain diameter. In high SFE material, the dislocation cell in structure on deformation, and this play a important role in stage 1 cracking as compared to the grain size. Now, the presence of the interstitial and substitutional alloying elements play an important role in determining the SN curve. That means stress versus number of cycle curve, and it is actually available in the fatigue life or fatigue life cycle. Interstitial solutes, that means contribute to strain energy, again give rise a fatigue limit in SN curve, and substitutional elements increase fatigue life without introducing a fatigue limit. So if you have considered the fatigue life with some stress curve cycle, so we can again draw a curved cycle, number of stress versus number of cycle, stress versus number of cycle, and number of cycle is actually log oriented and logarithm log oriented. That means stress sigma versus log n. So enhance strain, again the effect, and that gives the tolerance with higher stress values for a given fatigue life. Now interstitial solute elements like C in steel introduce fatigue limit due to strain again. So now a diagram in the screen. More interstitial solid solution strengthening enhance the strain against the effect, and last one is the pure metal, which is actually in the lowest portion of this graph, and in these sequences the increase of fatigue life increase the fatigue life with respect to differential material composition. So these are the part that I discussed in today's class. So next class we can discuss with a new topic and new module. Thank you.